a violent blizzard tore across Ironwood Ridge. The night an ex-Navy SEAL was ambushed, his entire team wiped out, and his body left tied to a tree to freeze in the darkness. Death was already closing in, his heartbeat slowing, his fingers turning black. When something impossible happened, what if the only creature on Earth who could find him in that storm was a dog he had saved years earlier? A dog everyone thought was gone forever? Keep watching, because this true story of loyalty will leave you speechless. Owen Walker was built like a man carved from granite, broad shoulders, short dark blonde hair touched with gray, and eyes that had seen too many battles. After 12 years as a Navy SEAL, he left the teams and moved to the quiet mountains of Wyoming, looking for peace. But peace never lasts long for men like Owen. When local rangers and police needed help stopping a ruthless poaching ring tearing through the wilderness, Owen was the first they called. That night, a brutal blizzard swallowed Ironwood Ridge. Snow hammered down so hard you couldn't see 10 feet ahead. Owen led a mixed task force of rangers and officers into the storm. One of them was a young cop named Tyler Briggs, mid-20s, tall, nervous, sandy hair curling under his hat. 20 minutes before everything went wrong, Tyler radioed Owen Walker. Change of plans. New rally point. North Ridge tree line. Marker 7. His voice shook. Owen thought it was just the cold. They moved to the new spot. Then hell exploded. A tripwire clicked. Red lasers cut through the whiteout. Gunfire cracked like lightning. The task force dropped one by one. Too fast. Too perfect. This wasn't a fight. It was an execution. Owen returned fire from behind a fallen log, but the enemy knew every move before it happened. In seconds, he realized the terrible truth. Someone on the inside had sold them out. A rifle but smashed into his skull. Darkness rushed in. When he came to, rough rope burned his wrists. They tied him upright against a massive pine tree. Don't kill him, one of the attackers snarled. Let the cold do it. Then they vanished into the storm. Hours crawled by. Blood froze on his face. His legs went numb. His pulse slowed to almost nothing. Owen closed his eyes and prepared to die. Then, through the screaming wind, he heard it. A single bark. Sharp, urgent, alive. Out of the blizzard charged a big German shepherd. Snow-caked on his black and tan coat, amber eyes locked on the dying man. The dog circled him, growling at the ropes, digging at the snow around his boots like he was trying to free him with his paws alone. Behind the dog came an older man. Early 60s, thick gray beard, old army parka, moving fast despite the years. Frank Dawson, a reclusive veteran who lived deep in the woods. The shepherd wouldn't let him sleep, nearly tore the cabin door off its hinges. Dragging Frank straight to Owen. Frank dropped to his knees, flashlight shaking in his hand. Jesus, he whispered, pulling a hunting knife and slicing the ropes. Owen collapsed forward, half frozen, barely breathing. Frank caught him, threw the SEAL's arm over his shoulder, and started the long drag back through the storm. The dog ran ahead, looking back every few steps, barking, urging them on. By the time they reached the small cabin, Owen was more corpse than man. Frank built the fire high, wrapped him in blankets, forced warm broth down his throat. The German shepherd never left his side, pressing his body against Owen's legs, sharing every bit of heat he had. When Owen finally opened his eyes the next morning, pain exploded through his ribs, but he was alive. And that's when he saw the scar on the dog's left ear. Long, pale, unmistakable, his breath caught. 3 years earlier, in a collapsed building overseas, Owen had clawed through burning rubble to pull a trapped military canine to safety. That dog had the exact same scar from twisted rebar. They told Owen the dog would be retired and rehomed. He never thought he'd see him again. Shadow, he whispered. The dog's ears shot up. He lunged forward, tail thumping hard, licking Owen's hand like no time had passed at all. Frank stood in the doorway, eyes wide. You know him? I pulled him out of a fire. He was supposed to be gone. Owen's voice cracked. He just saved my life. Frank shook his head slowly. Dogs, don't forget. But the fight wasn't over. Owen knew the poachers would come looking when they didn't find a body. And the traitor, Tyler Briggs, was still walking free. Using a torn piece of glove, Owen had ripped off one of the attackers. Shadow tracked the scent straight to an abandoned lumber mill everyone thought had been closed for years. But inside, generators hummed. Lights glowed. Fresh blood stained the snow. This wasn't just poaching. This was an international wildlife trafficking ring. Military-grade traps, satellite uplink, crates ready for shipment, funded by people who killed anyone in their way. Owen took photos, sent them encrypted to his old SEAL commander, Captain Reed Donovan. Within hours, Reed rerouted an elite alpine training team, SEAL Team 5 Bravo, straight to Ironwood Ridge. That night, the poachers came for revenge. A dozen armed men surrounded Frank's cabin, bloodhounds howling, gasoline cans ready. They opened fire. Bullets shredded the walls. Frank took a round shielding Owen. Shadow launched himself through a window, teeth sinking into the arm of the man about to light the place on fire. They were seconds from death when the mountains lit up with tactical lights. Snowmobiles roared in. SEALs poured out, moving like ghosts, flashbangs popping, rifles barking. The poachers threw down their weapons and begged for mercy. Medics loaded Frank onto a rescue sled. Shadow tried to jump on with him, whining, refusing to leave. Owen held him back, tears freezing on his face. "He'll be okay. Boy, you saved him. You saved us both." Frank made it through surgery. The trafficking ring was destroyed. Tyler Briggs was arrested trying to wipe his computer, pale blue eyes finally showing the coward he'd always been. Owen never left the mountains again. He bought land next to Frank's cabin. Together, they started a search and rescue dog training program for the Forest Service. Shadow became the lead instructor, the Scardeer legend every ranger puppy had to impress. Years later, when the snow falls soft on Ironwood Ridge, folks still talk about the night a dying seal was found by the one dog on Earth who never forgot him. Sometimes, the storm is darkest right before the rescue arrives, and sometimes God doesn't send an army. He sends one loyal dog, one old veteran, and a bond that not even death could break. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who needs hope today. Drop a comment and tell us where you're watching from and your own story of unbreakable loyalty. Hit subscribe for more real-life miracles that prove we're never as alone as we think. God bless you, keep you warm, and guide your steps, no matter how heavy the snow falls.